I've got a little Riley in the shop today. It's a little Peking to Paris rally car, and I've cut a few blanks out already, and we'll turn these blanks into this front panel up in here. So it is a two-piece panel, this one. It comes to a peak up in the center, and I've turned a flange where that changes direction, and then just run a weld in through here. So done a bit of shrinking up in the corners, power hammer work, bringing this corner up, stretching the material a bit here, and then wheeling on a diagonal through here, creating a bit of crown, and then blending that crown out. So a little bit of information on the Peking to Paris. It's a rally that goes through Asia and all the way up into Europe. So pretty cool rally. I think it's about 37 days to do. So this front roof section was a bit rusted out and was leaking. So brand new roof section, and then the top, it's got all these holes in, and then that'll have a vinyl roof put on. So the vinyl roof will come down into here. And yeah, so we'll get into it, show you how I made this. I'm going to start with shaping out this blank on one side. I've left a little bit of extra material all the way around, and then on this pattern that I've used, it's a bit of a different pattern to what I would normally use. This is a flexible shape pattern, so it sort of holds the shape. I'll explain a little more as we're shaping things. So yeah, as you can see, kind of in this zone here, it lays quite flat, showing not a lot of material's got to be moved, but in here it's a little bit high, which shows you that's an area that material's got to be moved in. So a bit of shrinking and stretching up in there, but for the first thing, I'm just going to run through and add a little bit of shape just in this zone here, and just sort of bring it around just a little bit, get it sitting on the roof, and then we'll really start moving some material up in this corner. Here, I'm just sort of bending this around the front a little bit just to get some sort of shape held in there along where that light line's going. So I'll just bend that round just a little bit, and I'm going to take this over to the hammer, start shrinking up in this corner, bringing this around and down into this pillar at the front, and then from working this side I'm going to work into here, because this is going to need a little bit of stretching this way, because as that comes around that's going to fall this way. So I'm going to have to bring up a bit of material here, but I'm going to move this area first, and we'll start working our way into that section of the roof. So let's take this to the hammer, start doing a bit of shrinking. Blake could have been a YouTube video.
Made one?
In the making of one. So, I've done the majority of hammer work all the way in, stretching this material up in here and starting to come into this way. Shrunk all the material on the edges, so this corner is actually pretty much fitting pretty good now up in these corners. So now I need to add material up in this zone, so I'm going to start wheeling along this light line at a diagonal through here, just to relax that material a bit more and start getting that to lay on the roof nicer in here, because this needs some material moved up. So now I've kind of got that corner a bit better when we run through into there, and we'll just rough it in and then start fine tuning it and then think about doing some edges. There's a lot of checking with this panel, so off on sort of thing. So pretty much in this zone here, as you can see, when I put this panel on the front on the roof, it's rocking in this zone. So that's telling me that it is touching in that area on the roof, and that needs more crown to be put in that zone so it can be more relaxed and sit onto that roof properly. So you want to do a lot of off checking, wheel a bit, check it, wheel a bit more, check it, wheel a bit more. So we'll continue wheeling until we get that right, and then we'll start moving on into some other areas of this shape here. I've done the bulk of the shaping here, so I've shrunk up in all these corners in here, bringing this corner down, done the hammer work up in through here and blending that hammer work out, stretching this zone up in here up, and having everything lay. So I've done my diagonal wheeling up in through here, creating a bit of a crown here because that does have a little bit of shape in it there. And then this panel on the other side does have a flange that's tucked underneath here, which I will trim back and weld this to that. And that flange is the transition point, and the front of the roof does actually come to a peak up in here. So that little bit of flange just comes over, turns back this way, and that creates my peak area in through here. So I'll do a weld joint in through there. And then another thing I'll add is as you wheel up in through this zone and create a bit of a crown there, the edges of the material is going to go floppy, and it kind of looks like it's overstretched, but you haven't touched it. You actually need to stretch that sort of floppy material on the edges. So blend out from where you've wheeled in this section, blend that out to the edges, and then that will get rid of the waviness on the edges, and your panel will sit correctly. And you want everything to sit naturally. Shouldn't need to put any tension anywhere. It should just be sitting on the body where it needs to sit without tension. And then once you're at that stage, which I'm at now, so I've got to turn some edges so I can turn the edges up into the drip rail area where the window is going to sit in, so up in this channel. And I can't get my scriber up in there. There's not enough room to mark a line of where that fold's got to go. So I've got this tool here where that's the scribe point, and this point will go up in the channel where that fold's got to go, and that will scribe where I need that line to be. So I'll tuck this up under here and then mark that line, and that will mark where my line needs to be to where the original line is. So I'll lay some tape on here and then trim off the excess material at a tape width, set the dividers, from that to where the line is. Then I can mark it on the other side and have my line on the other side, tip that edge, and then we've got the window opening area. So we'll tip some edges now and see how this thing's looking. That's it for the episode. I completely forgot to do an outro video. The car has already left. Customer has it. The customer's absolutely wrapped and he loves it. And that was it pretty much. That's how I went around shaping that panel. A little bit of power hammer work, a lot of shrinking in thumbnail dies, and then some wheeling, and then power hammer work just using radius dies on the bottom, stretching a few areas, making that little bit of crown, strengthen the corners in. And just remember, there's plenty of ways to shape that sort of thing. You can use a tucking fork, tuck up the corners, or beat it into a sandbag, do shrinking on the edges, blocking it out. I do have a video on blocking a panel out, so if you check that out, you can see how I block things out and get a similar sort of shape. So there's plenty of ways to shape that sort of thing, but that's how I went around it, and I hope you guys enjoyed it and you learned a thing or two, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.